following is an interview conducted by Floyd O'Neill with Mr. Wilson Johnson, conducted at Fort Duchesne, Utah, on July 27, 1967. Mr. Johnson, where were you born?
I was born in the White Rocks.
When?
Oh, in 1908, August 1908.
I see.
They have my birthday mixed up over here. So,
Oh, do they?
yes, I was really born 1909. And, I know that to be fact because I had a brother who died in I inherited his farm. And his name, I don't remember, but sex, but his name, Domi. And he was probably born in 1908.
Oh, I see.
And his birthday was
I see. The confusion there on the part of the government employees, huh?
Well, pardon me, the thing was the records burned. The agents to it. Probably they reason for mix-up units.
Who was your father?
My father was Tim Johnson.
According to what I know about Ute history, he must have been a very old man, was he not?
Well, he was pretty old when he died.
When did he die, do you remember?
Around about 1931. He didn't die of any ailment. Sickness, like you. He had blood poisoning.
Oh, I see.
His liver and snapped. Infected. I see. But dead. In the old hospital down there at Fort Duchesne, they crowded down there after the big plane that is camp for his 3 days or so. Take care of him. And that is another elected the it's tired of people.
Tim Johnson was the son of the Johnson who was at the Meeker massacre? Or was he the grandson?
I believe he was the grandson. Might get our brother or nephew, or he's never his side of the but I know that Chief Johnson was my family.
Yes, that tradition would stick pretty well.
Yes.
Who was your mother?
My mother is Doris.
And she is still living?
She is still alive. So that's White House.
I see. How old were you when you left Beaver's Basin?
Oh, I was about 12 years old when I went to high school. See, but prior to that, I had been staying with Albert H. Needle, who was superintendent here. The older stuff. I grew up East Coast. And I recall at one time that they had a visitor from East New Jersey or New York. I don't recall Mr. Doris. And that was her mother, Leanne's mother, father. I remember that they spoke Dutch, German, some strings, language too. And I picked up some words that they would use. when I was staying up with him. I used to call him Grandpa.
How old were you when you went to the home of Albert Neal?
Oh, I must have been about 9 or 10.
You see, did you go to their home so you could be here to go to school?
I was there during summer.
Oh, I see.
So you went to school.
Oh, I see.
I was, my brother was chief police. He took her at the time. And, I remember that I used to follow him around to see what he was doing. Just work over there.
Mm-hmm.
And one day, Mr. Neal asked my brother if it was all right to take me home every day. And he did. I went up there, Neal, and at that time, Mrs. Neal wanted to be good. So, Mr. Neal went back down to see him. That's my brother. Brother said, well, if he wants to, I can't do it to the ground. That sounds good.
Mr. Neal has a great reputation among the Indians who remember him as being a man of very great kindness. You remember him this way? For instance, I have yet to run into the person who ever heard Mr. Neal angry. Did you?
Well, Mr. Neal, as I remember, he was he's one man of nature, and he was very much concerned with the welfare of Indians, along with
being concerned. Yes, being concerned as a superintendent is all right. Well, what did he do?
Well, one thing he did that I can remember is that he used to ask me and Mrs. Neal to get on. You know, I think it was Butte or Chevrolet, one of their models, their top Doris, Carbide. We'd all jump on and go to Indian homes, down around Grand Mat, Mike, and White Rocks, or the vets, and go to these homes. And I remember that he would say, well, I gotta go see so go see you need some provisions or something. So he would go and see for himself whether or not they were in need. So he would go there, and if they were really in need, he would do something right then and there. Come back and make an order or go to scenes. Speak to our meeting or scenes. It's just a sing story. Just a mile. And then it's take me back up there, or else send the boss farmer up there. And start to work. It's awesome.
He must have been an unusual man because so many people still speak of him with warmth. And I understand he left here in, about 1925?
Along about that time I was away to school that was asking.
Where did he go after he left here? Do you remember?
He went to, they used to write to me from Zuni, Pennsylvania, down in Arizona.
Marriott. See, Zuni in Arizona or New Mexico? Yeah. But no, it's all right. The Neils, did you keep track of them in later life?
Well, they went back down to Florida later on, and along 1958, I believe, or so, yeah, they very nice. I have we understood Wayne and sent the thing, had this door at the time, and they walked in there. And I didn't think that Mrs. Neal recognized me that easy, but she did.
After all those years, yes. Are they still alive, or do you know?
I don't know. Maybe, but you see,
Very serious. He certainly stands out as one of the important, and in the 20th century, as far as the youth people are concerned, great numbers seem to have been recipients of his kindness. And when you left Haskell, where did you go?
I came back to this reservation, and in those days, jobs were hard to come by, and I wanted to maybe more. You get a class education. So I tried going to a place like Westminster. I was able to get in there to average Doris to his ladder. And then later on I went to WBS. It's quite good scouts. And nowadays I often wish that I had the program that they have now, because I used to even hitchhike to Salt Lake City to school, this and that. Didn't have the funds for any other expenses like
Looks pretty easy now by comparison, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Do you remember what years you were at LDS?
Well, last year I was there was I think it was 31. And then again I went back in 35.
We were tough years.
Yes.
Now you lived in the Dakotas for a while.
Well,
How did you go there?
45 I went up there. I married a Sioux whom I met in Salt Lake City. But next what that was, he was working in that hill field in 2 times. And I got transferred from Fort Duchesne to Bismarck. And get a recognition. Went there here and I transferred back to Miami throughput. I guess all in all, I've went for a bit of recognition in European affairs, Navy, Army, state of South Dakota, and private bases like United Technology, Center Development. Will make CD booster for you. Yes, please.
Oh, I see. The government agencies, you've worked for so many of them. Your training then was in bookkeeping and so on?
Yes, it was
In business.
yes.
General business backgrounds, the reason you work for the agency so often. With these government agencies, you had some time with the Bureau of Indian Affairs. How long?
All in all, I think I'd say about
What's your impression? Does the Bureau of Indian Affairs do as well as they claim or as badly as their critics claim? What's your impression of them? Both as a worker and as an Indian person?
well, it seems like there has between the old times and the modern. Like Neil's administration, said, he got out, done the thing that the Indians required himself. He saw to it that they was done. It seemed like the day he would make a request for anything upon this way, you have to do it through channel. All that kind of thing. But in those days, they had farmers. They had what they call farm bosses who were assigned to get out among the Indians, find what they need in a way of provision, not only groceries, but in way of maintenance the use of the farm. In those days, I think they farmed it quite good. I can go around and go to the reservation and point out places where that the green hospital, farmers and farmers out working in their teams. They didn't have any tractors. They had teams. They were allowed to buy teams and plows. And you got there.
The Bureau now, then, is not, you think it's too caught up in red tape? Is that its problem?
Yeah, I think so.
Bureaucracies have a tendency to grow up too big, but sometimes they can still perform very, very well. You don't think this is true of the Bureau of Indian Affairs?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll agree. There are many people in your camp who agree that sometimes they do very badly.
Well, I think that sometimes I think back and I think it just they just make it down, get it out to people in the offices, like give them an assistance to I always said that only time they can give assistance. What they can maybe is real need.
What about Indian education? How are we moving there? Do you think that the young people of the tribe, do you see a upswing in the amount and the quality of the education of the young people? What are your opinions here?
Well, I think they have a bit of many years because of the assistance they give the funds.
What about college, though? Do you know very many of the Utes, for instance, who are members of a university, who go to school? Obviously, you had quite a bit of training beyond high school years. What's your impression now? Are we doing pretty well in that respect or not?
Well, I think the youths are doing pretty well. Like you read about them going to different colleges here and there.
Yeah.
But I would like to see the other brothers keep it up. Not depend on governments. Let's not go get out and work and study. That's what really help 2 years.
Do you think this is a particularly great problem now, that there's not enough independence among these young people?
Well, I think if they get out and attend non-regulation schools without wait for it, I think they would be more able to get out and actually reach.
This brings up the whole question of reservations. For now, at this stage in the life of the Ute people, is the reservation a good idea? Should there be one?
Well, there should be for the older ones that can't get out. The reservation is a good thing for them. But the younger ones, I think, just get out and get into the mainstream of society and get their creative life.
You think that being put out, as you were, at Haskell and the various places you worked in Salt Lake and so on, do you think this helped you
Yes,
more than you could have been helped here?
quite a bit. Yes, yes.
Many others have said it.
Because I've met a lot of people who are around the church and different organizations, and they were willing to help me. For example, some gave me work to do, even if it was for 2 or 3 days. And then I would be given the other work here and there. I think it helped me quite a bit. And I remember the people that I was friendly. Still good friends of mine, and I remember them.
I see. Did you find it extremely difficult in Salt Lake City, for instance, when you went there, or were you befriended there?
I didn't have much difficulty getting around. When I went to school there, on the night sweat, they did make no difference. Yeah, so it's there was no sign. This is what they good to hear. Rather, they like to come and ask me questions about you. I told them. And then again, I was asked to maybe give a story or speaking words and that. They can't do it. You see,
That helped you.
a little bit.
I see. Since you spoke in the wards and so on, that brings up the question of religion. Do you belong to a Christian church?
I belonged to the Episcopal at that time. Right, I was really baptized. I was confirmed. It was a mistake. We took that bunch of students were on this to be baptized. And I happened to be absent the day that they were that right. So the next thing was confirmation. I was there.
I'm sure the Episcopal Bishop of Utah is going to love this story.
Pardon me, I think I'll open this with you're up.
That's a great story. You have been confirmed an Episcopalian without being baptized. Well, that's a story that's just got to be repeated. With the Episcopal Church here, who was the Episcopal minister up there at the time? Do you recall?
There weren't many.
Well, there was.
There was the missionary there. Yeah.
Oh, I've heard some other people mention this person. Is it Canfield?
Canfield, yes.
Oh, I see. I see. What did they do for a priest? Did he just come occasionally?
I remember that one would come from Salt Lake.
I see.
More than likely is Salt Lake City to see.
I wonder if they maintained the priest down here where they have the church at Randolph. I mean, could have come from there.
He was probably assigned to these churches up. Maybe
Maybe for all of them. For most of the people among the White River Indians up there at White Rocks, were most of them Episcopalian?
I think all of them were at that time. Wow. Yeah. Yet.
Now, what about those who were transferred from the Utah Lake area, though? They lived at White Rocks too, then, didn't they, near the old Uinta agency?
Yes, I believe most of them lived over around Altoona. I see some of them said that they were given lots in even Tabiona, there.
Wonder if many of them were members of the Mormon Church, or do you remember?
I don't remember.
But those people, the old ones that you can remember, who were the leaders of the White River group when you were a boy up there? Do you remember any of those old men?
My uncle was one of them, set between two countries. He was one of the chiefs. And of course, my father was a leader. I don't call him chief. He was the leader of the group. And he was very reluctant to tell things about it. He kept everybody there. That's right. But I did meet Buckskin Charlie, who was a chief. He was a friend of my father. One spring during bear dance, he came to camp with my father. My Dr. Steve was big chief of Southern Utah.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. I just recorded some people not long ago doing well down in Nashville. I've been working the Southern reservations too. And you knew him. You got to meet him.
Yes.
I see him. Now, was he a chief in the real sense of the term chief, in that he commanded the fate of a group of people?
Yes, he was a chief. He was after or 8 died. I guess he was, I'd like to go back. Mr. Walker.
What about the attitude of the White River people toward O'Reilly? Did they look to him as their great leader or not? Or was this mainly the young compadres?
Well, I think there's mainly the padre that regard achievement. Seemed like that the White Rivers had their own leaders, and like Washington. Was Johnson, Colorado, you missed one.
Yes, Colorado was one of the leaders. He was one of the men involved in the Meeker incident. They were an interesting group of people. The White Rivers don't fit into the categories of Ute history as well as the others. They seem to be more independent somehow. Do you get this impression too?
Yes, I do. Mainly was because they were, we might term it as anti-white at that time. They were shoved around belief. This would that at that time they were trying to make farmers out of it, but they weren't farmers. They used breed.
Yeah.
From that date on, I think they were trying to, the Indians believed that they were trying to put them in some sort of a concentration camp. And that's why they were very much against this make your as you kind of that you didn't treat them very well. Because they were used to getting their rations, provisions regularly.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow Mr. Maker wanted to stop that or pull on it or maybe because you have not. But this old Bucks Charlie, his story is that they didn't have enough, or he was denied this rations. That caused
I think that there's certainly part of it. I've read in the record somewhere where it says that part of the problem was that Meeker wanted to plow up the pasture that was being used for the horses.
Yeah.
Is this love of horses still evident when you were a boy?
Yes, yes.
Almost a worship of the horse. That they really loved their horses.
I think the horse came first.
Then the kid, then the wife. Huh?
Well, the way they took care of them, they really took care of their horses.
My grandmother lived up at Alphere, and she tells the story that sometimes when these new homes were built, you know, the 2-room homes they used to build on the reservation, she has seen them live in their wickiups to the side, you know, and put the horses in the new house. Is it true?
Probably.
You can believe it, huh? I heard the story. And she tells it with a straight face, you know, so that I sometimes wonder, now, your grandma's getting a little old. But, you know, when she talks about how they love their horses, well, you know, horses are nice animals.
Now, going back to meals, Mr. Neal wasn't the only one that made these trips up there, and he missed me one more. And when I'm working around here, anyway, I often wonder what his parents and his wife would think, because Mr. Neal used to go right up among the Indians, talk to him, shake hands with him. And then he even had me a trip to, I wasn't very much tuned to done with this Cassie, get up there, ask how the Indian American regardless of this, their home, no matter how dirty, let's sit down, have coffee, if she was offered coffee, that's some, and that was that was the type of people that were. Yes, sir. That's why they were so like. Yeah.
With the Indians up at White Rocks, do you know of any who ever did become successful farmers among the White Rivers?
My brother used to farm quite a bit. And then there's who seemed like today he was a rancher.
Was it mainly farming or was it mostly ranching?
It both.
I see. Oh,
yes. They're played on the spot.
uh-huh. But not very many of them.
Not very many.
They still regard farming as a sort of a undignified. Was that the idea?
I don't know why they didn't like farming.
I think I do. Well, I don't like it either, and I can sympathize with them.
Too much sugar.
Oh, that was terrible. I'm an awfully lazy man. Yeah, I think I can sympathize with their attitude. To ride the horse and hunt game, it's just easier. I'm sure. Yeah. Plowing. Terrible tenacity.
And my uncle shot me east to Philippines one of the leaders here.
Yes, I'm aware. Was he an uncle?
Yes.
Your father's brother or your mother's?
Mother's cousin.
Oh, I see. So that you are related to the Kutch family.
Yes.
I see. They have been a very talented family, haven't they? Tell me about your own family. Tradition has it that the Johnson, who is your ancestor, was not a white man, but had been raised at Provo, Utah, among the what we now call the Uintas. Have you ever heard that story?
No, I've never heard of that. But you mean Johnson number 2, the chief?
The one who was involved in the Meeker massacre.
I think it was White River.
You think he was White River?
Yeah, I can take effect in the other place because they never intermarried. The White River stuck to themselves. They were down there until 5 weeks. They could have you watches. You would have banned. There was separate from that. Occasionally, they would come and visit, and then be up with that again to Solid Valley. Different.
It's an interesting point. I think I read it in one of the books.
They didn't intermarry until you were the people who in the White River swept
Now, the White Rivers were moved up there about 1880, weren't they?
It's fun.
When you were a boy up there, Did the older people resent very deeply having been moved out of Colorado?
Very much.
Um,
I recall one time that just here lately, a new superintendent was coming to take over. And I think it was my uncle Anthony that got up and said, this new great white father, is he going to be, is he a Mormon or is he a white man? And I thought,
yeah.
and well, that was interpreted again, then and he was told that this fellow was white man, so he said, well, if he's white man, he would be from Washington, Washington's house. If he's a Mormon, he's from out west here. So when he said it, he said that we want somebody here that come right from Washington, tell us what this is, what Washington wants to do. I often remember that.
When the reservation was opened here, many of the White Rivers fled to South Dakota.
Yes.
And came back. Did you know of those old men who were on that journey who were finally brought back in 1980?
Well, my father was one of the leaders that went. They got as far as Eagle Butte. That's over it's south, central part of South Dakota.
Yes.
And I was told by an old lady up there where I have been working that she knew where the youth happy. You can get out there and still see where the fireplace burns.
Is that right?
Yeah. And then she told me about Indian that I know. Who happened to be one of the leaders. His name was Redcap. So Redcap. She knew him. And this Redcap had a daughter. And got sick, died there. So when Redcap left after his girl's death, that he left a horse, gave to this old lady's mother. And that's how she remembers Redcap, because Redcap left the horse. And that girl is the lady's, as he was going towards night age old. For heaven's sakes, he was still working around the hospital.
For heaven's sakes. And you have been to the site where they camped up there?
Yes, I have. I've been around Thunder Peak. I worked at Pine Ridge.
Now they were at Pine Ridge at one time.
They were camped there at Pine Ridge. They tell us when we go there that about the campsite there. How they have dancers. All that. Some of the children went to Rapid City to school. Jason Cutch's father went to school at Rapid City.
Now, see, that would have been Jasper.
Jasper, yes.
Jasper dead now, is he? Do you know any of the other Indians who are alive and went to school at Rapid City?
No, that's the only one that I know.
He's the only one you remember. Now, he'd have been a cousin of yours anyway, wouldn't he? Jasper Cutch. When they got back, and as they looked back on that experience, it must have been terribly depressing, terribly shattering to those people, to be so angry at their condition here, and then to flee to South Dakota, and then to have a very rough time up there, and then to come back here. Did you ever hear any of these old people talk about all of that after they've been through all of it?
My uncle, Tavish, Ben Tavish, told me something that happened. He said that it took them quite a while to get up there. It must have, because totally drowned, and on their way some died. Hardships. They didn't have much to eat except game that got on the way.
When he spoke of it, Mr. Johnson, did he speak of it in sadness, in anger? What was his emotion? Do you remember?
He was somewhat angry about it. He'd say that it was so foolish of the minister to take such a long trip, not knowing where they were going or what they were to accomplish. Yes. But I think, in my mind, I think that the youth leaders, the real reason, which nobody knows, is that they were on their way up there to meet some of the chiefs up there, to be like sitting all of them that were living at that time. They were up there to make alliance with them. They were still stirred up about this because they were get on the side of the Sioux people or any other tribe that they contact along the way. But that was the real reason.
I see. So it was an alliance.
Yeah.
They wanted.
Yes. Nobody knows that. Yeah. But yourself. Yes, that's
For heaven's sakes. Well, it certainly seems rational, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Else, why would they wander? My goodness, it must be what, 800 miles up there?
Yes, about 800.
Do you know anything about how they were received when they got to South Dakota? I've heard it said that, some have said that they were received very well by the Indians there. Others have said they were not received well. Do you know how those Indians felt up there about their coming?
Well, of course, they didn't know that the youths were coming. They probably were aware of them. But they were received very well. They were with it. Because of the thing that my uncle told that they participated in their dances, class dances, social dances, sun dances.
They left the year that the reservation was open, so that they fled from here at the very moment when all of these whites came into the. You know about their attitude about that? Was it partly the anger over the opening of the Uinta Basin to homesteaders that caused them to leave?
Well, I think it's just like any other tribe that coming of the whites meant crowding them out, taking their land away from them. Basic, tradition.
Do you remember an Indian of the White Rivers, I suppose he would be, named Suckeye?
Yes, I remember him.
He was on the 1905 journey, was he not?
Well, I don't remember, but I don't know anything about the journey it took, but I remember Sakayip and his wife and daughter. I remember them well because I used to be near them when I was staying with my aunt.
Oh, I see. Was he one of the angry ones over
Yeah.
there?
Yes, he was one of them.
You remember that part of it?
Yes.
I have other informants who have suggested to me that he was one of the men who was bitter, very bitter about their fate. I thought perhaps you remembered this. Is his daughter still alive?
No. Okay. They've all died.
Did his daughter have children?
No, I don't think so.
What was her name? Do you recall?
They had to get names, which I don't remember.
See. Too bad. I would like to talk to someone of that family too. Like your own family, they were very important. With the White Rivers, I think I discern a different system within the family relationships than, for instance, say with the Uncompahgre. Was there a different attitude toward family in that tribe, in that band, that you can think of? Do you think there is a different relationship, for instance, between mother and son and father and son than there would be among the Uncompahgres?
I don't think that really.
You don't? Fine. With the
I think that relationship that you mentioned, I actually because I haven't been around in the family records, I could still call in regards to that.
I see.
But I believe that there's no difference there. Mm-hmm.
Tell me about your impressions of the UN Basin. You've lived a lot of other places now. When the area was opened in 1905, Major McLaughlin wrote a letter that said that there was only about 60 farms that would be worth homesteading here, and instead they opened up 600. Living here as a child and coming back, what about your impressions? Was Major McLaughlin right?
I think he was partly right. Because when he was here, probably the land wasn't developed. It's true that there's very much evidence of outcroppings, rock, over hills, steadily leveled off. Of course, the canal, I think, built. But now, since the canals are being used with, I think the basin would be a place to live, raise the crops.
Which do you think they do better with here, crops or grazing?
I think grazing would be better.
I think that just in my own memory, I lived here until I was 15. I think I see more of it put back in grass and grazing now than when I was a boy. What about your remembrance? Do you think there's more of it now that in grazing than it used to be? Especially the White Rocks area.
Yes, there's more grass. Plus, later days, the There's some grass seeds. There.
Looks more prosperous now, or when it was in farm?
It's, at the time making McLaughlin, as I said, that land was undeveloped. Speaking of Major McLaughlin, my father knew him.
Was that?
Yes, he was in council. They have him to read the minutes of council meeting of the time. Major McLaughlin. He was here well now. Inspection at that time. And where I lived in South Dakota, I'm acquainted with the Senate, so he was Major McLaughlin.
Oh, is that right?
I see. My wife's dead. Well, is that right?
Sure. Yeah.
I see. Well, small world.
How old were you when you got married, Mr. Johnson?
I was 38, according to it. Right. 38.
Do you have children?
Yes, girl.
I see. Are they now married, or are they in school?
One is married, and the other is one of his senior
in high school. At which high school?
Santa Clara, California.
I see. Your married daughter lives in the San Francisco Bay Area?
Yes, she lives down in San Jose.
It's a lovely area. What do you do in California now?
I'm working at the Indian Center there in San Francisco. It's office manager.
I see. How long have you been with them?
Since February.
And you're just here on your vacation?
Yes. I was with the food machine company. And prior to that, I was with the United Technology Center. I was with them for about 4 years. There, Doris,
With your daughters, Mr. Johnson, do they have a strong sense of being Indian? For instance, are they as aware that they are American Indians, for instance, as you think you might have been when you were young?
well, they appear to be aware that the Indians, but down there it doesn't make any difference. It's they have been very well.
Very well.
Yes, of course, around where we live, they're Spanish people, Portuguese, other nationalities.
That makes it easier?
Yes, they look very much like people. Portuguese.
Did your daughter marry an Indian person?
Yes,
Of which tribe?
he's the Kiowa tribe.
I see. Now she's half Ute and half Sioux, married to a Kiowa.
Yes.
An interesting combination. Your grandchildren will be marvelously American.
Yeah, that's integrating.
Yes, that's integrating. What about you at the basin? Do the whites and the Indians integrate well here?
Well, I don't think they did. Now probably they are. that brings to mind that they didn't integrate very well because the Indians, I guess, were so much against that right from the beginning. They're anti or hate that completely, and then again it shows that in our town there, like Roosevelt, Pearl. I don't see any Indian people working there. And that's the business we had. When I lived here, there was no Indian work.
Yeah, you just couldn't find a job, could you?
No. Everything's been pretty hard for Indian to work, and then they call Indians lazy. You don't find Indians working like Fort Duchesne. And I was just reading the other day where they employed two people, one in case the others looking. And that's the only two that I know of that have employed.
You're gonna choose everyone.
And we say,
Gosh, and yet some of the Indians, I get the impression they were doing better than that in 1920, Mr. Johnson. I can name you some older men who got pretty good jobs who were Indian men back then. Well, maybe they were working with the government, though.
well, the Indians always have been employed by the government here. And they have government officers over in Miami, and they were employed over there. That's the only kind of jobs they get. Them days, the government jobs. That is jobs. Outside of what you were doing. So,
If you were to observe about this situation of the young Indian men here and jobs, what could we do that we haven't done in the past to try and break this barrier? Obviously, they need to be working. I think we all agree on that.
well, I think this OEO is coming to be, and I think it's going to help. It will create jobs, help the younger men find jobs.
You think that OEO is a good program on the Indian reservations?
On the Indian reservations, not in cities. Cities down there. And then, of course, they got to get up, find jobs elsewhere. They get back here. And the only way, I think, is that they should be, if there's any classes, that they should be oriented city living given warnings of what to expect in cities like now. People need to go to the city. And a member of the family becomes ill. It's pretty hard for them to get into hospital because they're not known. Besides, they may not belong to any club or they don't have any medical insurance. The insurance that the BIE gives them have their relocate that expired.
With these people who come to the cities, I've heard it said by many people that they very quickly fall into problems with liquor. Is that true?
That is true. Yeah.
Why? Because of boredom or the sense of being lost, sort of, in the great city?
I think it's because it's more that they're lost, as you say, and such of being lost. Maybe that's what makes them a little bit braver to get dropped without, then they get into something like they get up. Yeah, in trouble.
That brings up the subject that,
They get the wrong place, that part.
which brings up the subject of the Indian and liquor. Is the problem with liquor with the Indians any different than it is with the whites?
I don't drink credit from the dip. From when I live in the city, I see it right where I work. But when I go down the street to the blacks right here, man, I'd stick there. One deep bag, cup, like hard to bake. So I don't think that's it. We did lie. Don't say that Marriott but last night. They like we think get the average what they got.
Your own reminiscences of the youth people and so on. Were there any incidents that stand out in your mind as important to the history of your own life or of your family that we haven't discussed, Mr. Johns? And you think of any? Major incidents in your childhood that would illustrate a point or a memory concerning ritual, the Sundance, the white belief, the Indian customs. Are any of these subjects that you recall, or any area that you recall from your experience as a member of this tribe that you think might be of interest?
Well, the Sundance will be that thing that stands out more because it's a ritual, it's a religious thing that it should be kept up by the Indians. I can remember that when the old timers used to go up to the mountain and bring down owls, have them one day, and next day they would go out there and chant. They dress up like they were war they come out there, red calling, get out, chant about. And that was part of the ceremonies that I met finally some one of the leaders would right by the center pool. That's one being center. And I let the shoot it right. So that would end that part of ceremony. And then that next thing would be to gather that center pool. The first one be dragged over there to the site. And then they had segment bay while the corral be built. It took them all day, all out.
then when that photo was finished, way this time, the desert tree where they got me. And I've often been at the meeting with different things that they have there, like the chemical, well, in there, the my own belief is that that Great Spirit must like told about this sermon that God mentioned that with that purity that the White Spirit and a messenger down in form of buffalo. So when this girl already went out to hunt buffalo, why he met this buffalo and met, and then when he was going to shoot him down, but the buffalo spoke up, he said, "Don't shoot me, because I'm sacred. I tell you that you're subdued." And not sure evening left him, and then and buffalo the girl was straight 1 minute now. I was told him what the Sunday. If you go back and tell the people that you're going to be the comeback chief, they'll drill. They got really grill with the cake facing deep towards sun flags. And then have a center pool in which you have that Great Spirit, which there's some modern ice called Jesus Christ, not kind of Great Spirit. And then you pick 12 poles to support that, to represent 12 people, and that's 12 apostles. So, and then face the east, there'll be one eagle feather there on one. That's the leader of that. So the 12, everybody that's how it's supposed to be the sun, the first one to meet the sun. Have that when you get up in the morning, when you get up with that leader, the pray. Have some serve like white like now. So that's that. So you're to fast 4 days, 4 nights. He said that the Son of Great Spirit that was a Christ, you were not in will fast 40 minutes. So that's what you want to do. Your thankful text. The death without food or water. And that wait over time to do that. Your prayers will be answered. But the bump guy come. There'll be so they only went back to his people. They made younger chiefs the elders top bands. That's what we told them. They were satisfied. That's that story. My story was Sunday. I said, "From whom did you hear it?" Well, from my high school aunt. Who is your aunt with whom you live? Speaking. Was she your father's sister? My mother's great. So, How quick can Did she have children? Yes. Do you still have cousins who are her children alive? You know, they're all dead now. Goodness sakes. Well, that's a very interesting story. I wondered about some of the symbolism when I was at the Sun dances this summer. I attended the one at Ignacio and also the one up here the other day, but they're going to have another one here. By the way, 2 sun dances. Yeah, I understand. They had one to it. You won't be here for it? We have about feedback to it. I see. Well, that's too bad. While we are here, Mr. Johnson, may I ask your wife a question or two while, if she is willing to answer while we're here? Yes, you may. Thank you. Mrs. Johnson, you're a member of the Sioux Nation. What was your maiden name? Goodrow. Goodrow. You were working in Utah when you met your husband. Yes, I'm in that car. Dorothy. This was a tenant where the workers all over the night. Some sort of get on face to face. Yeah, I worked there as not this weather. The lifer slap cracker meat. When was this? 1904. World War II. The tide was bad. I see. In observing the differences between the Ute and the Sioux, for instance, as a people, what are the major differences that stand out in your mind? Brother, I think, as I'm observing, I think the Sioux are more aggressive. More aggressive. You mean this in terms of, in every way, more outgoing? That's what you mean? For instance, there is it's long been observed by white people that the Utes are very shy. Is this what you mean by less aggressive? This shyness? I notice this too. Is it genuine modesty or is it a social thing? Or have you been around and have to judge this difference? Well, I think they are the most in what I do too. For instance, it has long been observed the white man's manners are sometimes very offensive to Indian people. Do you think the white man's manner would be more offensive to the Ute than it would, for instance, to the Sioux? Well, so. Mm-hmm. I think this is true. Many of us who are sensitive to this at this point think that sometimes the very presence of white men must offend the Ute people very deeply at times, simply because our customs of expression and our manner of expression is so very different. I often want to see someone from one of the other Indian nations comment on this. What about the Utes as compared to the Sioux in terms of their ability to adapt economically? Is there a difference here? I would have to say that our tribe assumes to had some white blood. There's the difference there. And then I thought that Utes actually childhood election of a slot. This happened. Your husband is cold-blooded. Yet he's adapted very nicely, very successfully. And I sometimes wonder, I'm still no opinion here about this. I sometimes have heard it said that those of mixed blood can adapt more easily. And yet some of the full-blood Utes done spectacularly well, so that problem of economics, it's pretty hard now being these people, does it not? As I just hear that about the number of people among the youths who are educated, you see a difference here between them and the Sioux. I think in more history readers, I've noticed that quite a number of youths are kind of getting more interested in higher education. We get quite a Jews who are full-bloods. I want to get more to see that. Where side I can't speak either. That is very out. I understand there are nearly 5,000 youth. You mean the Sioux had 20,000? Oh yes. That should be inspired in Microsoft to kind of check out. Actually, the Prime Minister Loans, the same girl out in North with a side. There are opposites like us. Mrs. Johnson, are you a pure Sioux stock? Are you part white? Part white. I see. Yes, I'll be the work trades where I eat. It's a good combination. Well, this has been a very interesting and productive conversation. Thank you both very, very much. Please send a photographic copy of this record to Mr. Wilson Johnson, and you dictate your address. 653 Mallorin Avenue, spelled Malarin Avenue, Santa Clara, California, zip 9550